Uh, Good evening, everyone. So basically, we this is the first tutorial what I am making, and the tutorial is about the rigging. It is the introduction of the rigging, the basic setup, what we basically how we should start when it comes to rigging. So what we will be looking today is this is this thing what you can see actually what we will be going to do. Now, what I have tried to create is a basic leg setup. Okay, where you can see the three sets of bone, which is the hip bone, the knee bone, and the ankle bone. And I have parented with a controller. And for the mesh, I have just used a basic cylinder where I have put in some more subdivision axis to it so that I can get a proper amount of mesh. Now, the first thing what we need to take care of is when it comes to rigging, your basic mesh flow. Now, your mesh flow should be so accurate that you don't face any problem when it comes to skinning. Now, rigging and skinning all comes together basically, when you have to basically rig a character, so you also have to skin it. Now, rigging can be done by very easily. It's a very easy thing to do. But when it comes to skinning, it is something which is highly related with your mesh flow. So now if your mesh flow is all good, it is perfect, so definitely you won't be facing any issue when it comes to skinning. But your mesh flow is not that good or it has some problem, then you may face a lot of issues in skinning. So basically, as I said, we will be looking, so three things what we are going to see today in this first session. And the thing is, first is a basic setup, and then we will be you know doing the proper orientation of that setup, that basic setup what we'll be going to do. And then we'll be putting an IK controller to it, IK handle to it, and then a controller to an IK, the parent thing. So these are something which we are going to look forward in this tutorial. Now if you see, it's a very basic thing, it's a very basic thing which we are going to start with, and definitely we will be going ahead with this. So the rigging, this is the first tutorial what I am making. I've never made a tutorial before. This is the first time I am doing it, and it is because of the situation. We are not that connected with each other because of this thing. So this is the initiative what I am trying to take, to do from my end, where I am coming up with this first set of tutorial. You can definitely ask me the question. You can ask me the question where I will be uploading this video in my channel. I will be sharing you with the link, and or you can also DM me if any question or any of the topic which I have not covered in this specific session, or you want me to come up with. I will be love to come up with that topic. And yes, so any query, anything, you can definitely ask me once this video has been uploaded and seen by you. And definitely, I hope you like it, because unfortunately, I am not that good uh, in my vocals. So kindly bear with me. So thank you. I'll just begin now with this. So we'll take a new scene. Before that, I'm gonna save this file. And one more thing, this system what I am actually using is little slow, so it may take more time. So kindly be patient. So let me take a new scene. As I said, it is taking more time as it should. Uh, but as I said, right now this is the best thing what I can do. That is this. That is the reason I have come up with the rigging, the basic thing or basic setup of the bones. So it is little lighter as compared to the other topics, and we can definitely, and rigging is something which people think is a little difficult as compared to the other sets in Maya. So I let me assure you, this is the very simplest topic and the easiest thing. The only thing what you need to understand is the basic thing of it, and if your basics are strong, definitely you can crack anything in rigging. So first of all, what I will be doing is I will be going in my polygon modeling shelf. I will be taking a cylinder. Now, the most important thing when it comes to rigging is rigging cannot be done in a perspective view. Okay, you need to go or you need to take a help of an orthographic view. It can be a right view or a left view or a front view, either of it, but need to make sure that you not doing the rig in the perspective view. Okay, so I have taken a cylinder over here, and what I will be doing is I will be going in the inputs. Basically, you can find the inputs in the channel editor. I will be increasing the height of it by pressing the middle mouse button, and a little radius, a little, not that much. Yes, this is well good enough for me. Let me go on the right view of it so that I can get a better view and better idea about it. And then I'll be taking it little up, and I will be adding. So I'm good with this 20 axis. What I want to add is a subdivision height. Now this is something I'll make, keep it till 8, and I will be keeping the caps 0 because I don't like triangles. So, and triangles are not much welcome when it comes to the rigging part. So once we have done with this thing, we'll be naming it as a test. As I said, what I am starting with is the basic leg setup. Okay. Now, assuming this is the leg, so first we will be starting with the three basic joint, which is the hip bone, the knee bone and the ankle bone, and then we may go with the further part, which is the foot roll and the foot end. So today, what as I said, what we are looking forward is for the bone setup, basic bone setup, and putting in basic IK to it, adding a controller to it. That is something what we are looking for. Now the first thing what we have to do is, once we are done with the modeling part, as I said, we are assuming this is my leg. Okay, so I will be going in modify. I will be freeze all the transformation of this mesh, and then I will be going back again in the modify menu, and then I will be clicking in the center pivot. Now if you have to change the pivot, you can press the alphabet D. Okay, and you can just bring it down. Okay, this is where I want to put my pivot basically for this specific subject. Okay, and last we need to delete the history, so we'll be going in edit, delete by type, delete history. What I have done for this specific thing is, because this is something which will be required, in every set of it, so I have created a custom. And to make the custom, what you can do is you can just go on specific menu where whatever you looking for. Suppose if you're looking for freeze transformation, you can just press Control Shift middle mouse button, and you can see it's here. So this is how you can create the shortcut or a quick menu shell for yourself. So I have already created, I don't require it. So what I can do is, if instead of going again and again in modify or in edit, I just go in my custom shelf and I click on the specific icons. Well, but in this scenario, if you see, it has changed the pivot of mine, so which I actually wanted down. So I will be, by pressing the D, I can just change the pivot. Okay, now I'll add the wireframe mode and the X-ray mode, so that I can see my joints, what I will be putting into it. And you can also press this specific icon, which allows the bones over mesh basically. So actually the bone will be inside the mesh, but it just present in that way that you see the bone is over mesh. So we'll go in the skeleton menu, we'll click on the check box, and we'll see over here. Now if you see, you have degrees of freedom. These are all axes, which axis we are looking for. So we are looking for all the three axes, that is X, Y and Z. We don't need right now symmetry. I guess we are only working on the one set of it, so we don't need any symmetry for now. Scale, compensate, auto joint limit, create IK handle, variable bones radius settings, projected centering. Keep it as it is. The things which are checked, let's keep it as checked. The things which are unchecked, let's keep it unchecked. As if you see, we will be creating our own IK handle, so we don't want it from here. That is the simple reason about it. And when it comes to the orientation setting, if you can see, there are primary axis, secondary axis, world orientation. This is also we will be looking in today's topic, so let's keep it as the way it is. Okay, just reset it and close it down. Now Let's go ahead and click, click, and let's click over here. I will be taking one more extra bone. This is for the orientation, which basically you'll come to know uh, in the further when we'll be going further for this topic basically. Yes. So I'll just adjust a little. So if you want to adjust the specific bone, you can just press D and you can adjust it. If you want to increase the length of the bone, you can press D and you can increase the length. If you want to decrease, vice versa, you can just go ahead. Now what I will be doing is I have also created a quick icon of an hierarchy. So I just click over here and it just quickly select the hierarchy of all the joint. So if you want to specifically change, the size of the bone, you just have to select on it. Kindly just don't select the hierarchy, select a individual bone to change or to increase the height or to decrease, or whatever you prefer. So select an individual bone, just don't select the hierarchy. Hierarchy, what I am selecting is for to display the orientation. So how to display the orientation? You have to go into the display icon and transform display, click on local rotation axis. Now what you can see is there are axes. Okay, let's move on to perspective view quickly, and for time purpose we'll be hiding the mesh view for now. You can see we have all the three axes visible, x, y, and z, for all the four joints what I have created. Now this joint I don't really need this. It is the none bone basically. Now the none bone means a bone which is not going to skin, a bone which will not be getting any controller, a bone which not be connecting with any IK handle. So to make, to not to make it as an active bone, to keep my orientation well, what I have done is I have created a fake bone, fake none bone, for which Maya feels like this is the none bone and it won't change any orientation of it, and actual my none bone will be this. Now, to make it simple, I'll take one more create joint and I'll just quickly put it. Now, and I'll press enter. Okay, I'll select the hierarchy. I'll go back in display, transform display, local rotation axis. Now, over here, if you see the difference between this, the axis doesn't follow the bone which I actually want to. See, this axis is not following this axis. But in this case, as I have faked a little, this axis follows this axis properly. I hope now you've been clear with this part why I have used an extra joint instead of this way method. So this method, if you see the x-axis is not properly following this x-axis, but in this scenario, this x-axis is properly following this axis. So orientation is the most important factor. This is the only thing which is the important part, if I'll tell you, because if you know how to solve the orientation, your bone will work very properly and your all the controllers will be moving very accurately. So orientation is the most important thing, needs to be taken care when it comes to rigging. So for this I will be deleting this thing. Now if you see my orientation, all the bones are following the x-axis. Now if you see x-axis here and also here, in this case it is following the x-axis, but this is not following this axis properly. So that is the reason I have created an extra joint in the scenario what we are looking forward for. But now there is one more problem which we need to solve. Now the y, if you see, now this is the hip bone. We are assuming this is the hip bone. We'll press the down arrow key, or you can just also go and select from the outliner. You can double click over here, and this is my knee bone and this is my ankle bone. Okay, so now if you see, the hip bone y is on either different side and the knee bone y is on a different side, and same if you goes, the z of the hip bone is on the different side and the z of the knee bone is on the different side. So we want all the bones should be in one, all the axes should be following the same. Now for this what we have to do is, we'll select the hip bone, we'll go in the skeleton, we'll select the orient joint. First what we will be doing is reset. Remember, the first thing we need to do is the reset, and then we'll apply. We have applied it in the hip bone. Now if you see this icon, the symbol, the plus sign, okay, So when I have selected the hip bone and I have applied this, all the axis was in plus. Now I'll select the knee bone and instead of plus I'll make it minus and I'll apply. Okay, so now if you see, the hip bone and the knee bone is as same as it should. See, all following the same axis. Now when it comes to this, now as I said, this is something we call as the nun bone. This is not used for the skinning, nor we add any controller to it, nor we connect, though we it is not been used basically in the skinning, as it is the nun bone. So it doesn't, it should not, we should not look much about this specific bone. Simple thing what we can do is we can just go orient joint to word and we'll apply. So it will be following the previous bone, which is the knee bone, and which is actually, this is how we want it. Now I'll close this, and once we are done with this, we'll select the hierarchy and we'll turn off the display of it. Okay, now before I turn off the display, I will show you one more thing. I will be putting an IK to it. IK handle, okay, inverse kinematics, the full form of IK handle is, and I'll open the box. Now if you see, first thing needs to be done is the reset. Okay, now what you have to do is, when you see, there are two types of IK. One is the rotate planar solver and other one is the single chain solver. Now the difference between the single chain solver and the rotate planar solver is, single chain solver means it will be connecting only the one joint, but rotate planar solver will connect to the multiple bones. So we will be using, in this case we will be using the rotate planar solver. In further tutorials I will be telling you how to use the single chain solver also, but for today part we will be using the rotate planar solver. Now I will be clicking on the hip bone and then I will be clicking on the ankle bone. It's very simple. I just repeat it once again. Okay, to repeat the option, basically in Maya, if you're doing a modeling, so to repeat the option you have to press G, but when it comes to rigging, to repeat the option you have to press Y, alphabet Y. So if you see, I have repeated the command, and now I'll click on the hip bone and then I'll click on the ankle bone and then I'll press W, and if you see, now you can see my orientation are following so well, so that it won't be giving me any problem when I will be doing the skinning of this specific. Yes, we are good to go. Now the most important thing is, because we don't know where, basically, now if you see, there are some information in the translate which won't help us, you know whenever we will be using it, we don't know what the number we should end up with. So that we have to create a controller to control the IK. We have to create a controller. So what we will be doing is, we will be going on the create menu. Now always remember, controller should always be the nerve primitives, it cannot be a polygon primitive. So the reason behind this is because whenever we create a model, whenever we create a character or anything, we use the polygon primitives. So what animator basically do is, they uncheck the polygon primitive so that they cannot select the polygons by any chance. They only on the nerves primitive, so that they can only select the nerves primitive and they can only add the keys in the nerves primitive, so that it becomes easier. So always remember that there should be always a nerves primitives be used for the to making a controller for it. So I have used the circle for now. Now I will be snapping this circle on this ankle bone by pressing the V. For snapping, what alphabet need to be used? V. By pressing V, we can snap it on the specific bone wherever we want to. Okay. So the first important thing what we need to do is, we have to freeze this transformation. Remember always three important rules. You can call it as the golden rule. That is the freeze transformation, center pivot, delete by type, delete history. So I have already created the icon for them, and it all been done. Okay. Now we have to create a child parent relationship, okay, or a parent child relationship. So to create that, what you have to do is, you have to select the child first. For in this case, the child is my IK handle. Okay, so I'll select my child and I'll just name this IK CTRL, that means the controller. Okay, so I'll select this IK handle, and then in the outliner, I'll be by pressing control, I will be pressing the controller, and I'll be pressing P. So now I have created a child parent relationship for this specific thing. Now suppose the importance of controller is, suppose now I have to bring it back to the default position. So I just have to go and make this 0. It will be by default going on the default position of it. Now I will be turning on the visibility of the mesh which I am using, and I have to skin it. Okay, so first of all, what I will be doing is I will be selecting the hierarchy. I will be going on my display, transform display, local rotation axis. I will be turning off the display of my local rotation axis, LR in short form, which we called as. Now I'll go back to my perspective, right view. Now whenever we going for the skinning, we don't need the last bone, which we called as the none bone. Okay, so we have to deselect this. Now by how to deselect? By pressing the control drag, you can deselect this. Over here, if you can see, the ankle bone is been deselected. Well, you won't be able to see it over here. You can see it in the outliner, or if you want to see more information about it, you can go in the general editor, hypergraph hierarchy, where you can see all the information. Now the information says you have a mesh called as test, you have added the hip bone, the knee bone, the ankle bone, and that effector is the IK handle effector. And you can see the red line which is connected from hip to the effector. That is what we have done. And over here you can also see we have a controller name as IK controller, which is connected, which is the parent of the IK handle. So this hierarchy shows you all the information, all the things what we have done in from the start until the end, what we are doing related with the rigging part of it. So this is the most important thing, hypergraph hierarchy in from the aspect of rigging. So I'll close it down now, and I'll press this mesh by pressing shift. I'll go in skinning, I'll go in bind skin menu, I'll open the option box. Now first of all, what we have to do is the reset. Okay, once the reset has been done, you see the bind skin, it is to joint hierarchy. Okay, so because I have selected my own joint, I don't need the last point to be selected or to be the part of the skinning. If I'll select joint hierarchy, it will take all the 3 bones, but I actually don't want it for this case. I will be emphasizing more on skinning part in the further coming tutorials, but for now I'm just showing you the very basic interface of it. So what I'm doing is, instead of joint hierarchy, I'm selecting the selected joint, and I'm keeping all this thing as it is. The changes what I am doing is, the max influences, instead of 5 I will be keeping it as 3, and colorized skeleton I will be unchecking it because I don't like the colors bone. It doesn't do anything related with the weight of the bones. It is simply shows the display of the joint, and I don't really like the colorized skeleton, so I'm unchecking it. If you want to keep it checked, it has no issue with it. Drop off rate, instead of 4 I am keeping it as 8, and then I'll bind the skin. Once it is done, and you can just see, you can select your controller, and this is done. I'll uncheck the wireframe and also the transparency to it, and we are done with the basic part, or the beginning of the basics rigging. And I'll come back to the 0, the default position. Select this bone, and you can see how it is working. So this is how we do the setup, the basic setup of rigging, and I will be sharing this information to you guys. I will be uploading this to my channel, and I will be sharing this link to you. And if you, as I said, you want something more, or some information which I have not been covered in this, I will be definitely coming up in the further videos. You can definitely let me know, and you can share your views how it was, because as I said, it's the first time I have taken an initiative of making a tutorial which I have never done before. I hope you like it. It is only for you guys, because as I said, we are not able to connect a lot with each other because of the virus, and this is also that you be at home, be safe, because this is the only demand of the situation right now. And as I said, if you want any tutorial related with this topics, the topic should be like in Maya. Right now I'm only making the tutorial for Maya, not for Nuke, not for the Cinema 4D, not for any other software. I'm very much specific for Maya for now. And if any specific tutorial you want related to this thing, you can definitely share your thing. I will be coming up with it. Thank you so much. Goodbye.